All right, continuing on in our BTS of The Chosen Season 6, there are a lot of days left to go. We are not even at day 20, and there are like 86 days in the filming of this show for this season. It's gonna be intense. This week is by far the most interesting stuff we've gotten, and trust me, you're gonna wanna buckle up for this one for sure. We're gonna start out slow, but trust me, we will get there. Stay to the end of this video, please. Let's jump in. First things first, we got a bunch of extras that came to set, me included. I was in Utah for 2 days, but not this first section here. We're going to talk about it in just a second. Let's meet some of the extras that were on set. This is always a lot of fun.
Miss Claude Hayes. I'm from Pensacola, Florida.
Please, Chosen BTS, get a better mic. or fix your levels. Every single video that they did is like the most blown out audio I've ever heard in my life. I'm not sure if they're doing that on purpose to be like Gen Z or like, you know, I don't, it's just every single video is blown out completely.
And this is my first time being a background extra for The Chosen Season 6. I'm very excited just to meet the cast and crew and to see the behind the scenes of what goes on in filming this amazing production.
Hi, I'm Tyler Hess. I'm from Indiana. Never been an extra before, but I'm super excited to see all the behind the scenes things going on. Excited to meet some of the actors maybe if we're lucky. That's what I got. Shalom.
So you see everybody getting into the set here. Everybody waddling in. Again, this is a few days before I got there, and so we're seeing a few of the BTS things that are happening here. Now, this scene in particular doesn't look like it has a ton of BTS, but a bunch of background actors with it, the extras there. But we do see day 13 here as we continue on to see what's happening. We see some scaffolding in the background. That is the first thing that I noticed about this scene. If we look back here, kind of zoom in for you guys, obviously we got the big camera here, camera A, and then we have this scaffolding over here that is not normally in this section of set. And so this is being used for some reason. They're building something, they're doing something here, possibly the construction of the temple for Herod the Great, possibly, I don't know, they could be building really anything here. I do think that this scene is present day. I don't think it's a flashback, and I'll tell you why in a second, but they're obviously doing some sort of building here as they're finalizing something. So just wanted to point that out as we continue on. Let's go. Real quick, we'll look in these monitors as we always do to see if there's anything interesting. I don't think there really is. I looked before. The cameras are kind of down at the moment, and there's not really anything crazy important that we're seeing here. Just some people kind of on set standing. Other than that, I don't really see a ton of stuff that I can discern here. But we'll continue on. We got Dallas as he's panning up towards the sky. He's got the big scrim up there that is to help with kind of diffusing light for the scene. Then we also have another crane. Now, if you watch my previous BTS video that I put out this week, you'll see that there's another crane that looks just like this that has some sort of pulley system on it. My guess is that this is to lift something up, whether they're flying a person, which would be pretty crazy for like an action stunt or something, or it's an item that they're flying around the area. I'm not 100% sure, but we can see this kind of cradle system. If we zoom in here, we see this system that is over here to the right. You kind of see this right here. Right up there is like a big cradle-like system that holds something, right? Hard to say what, but it's definitely there, kind of next to this ladder here as they have something there. It's really hard to say though, overall. We get the rest of the crane here. Got some people looking over the edge, and that includes our boy Tyler Thompson, who is in this section. Let me go back here. He's right here. And normally, I feel like Tyler's not always there unless something interesting is happening. So maybe he's here just the whole week or whatever, but definitely seems like he would be here if it's interesting. And so maybe there's another one there. But you can see two big cranes here in this shot. So maybe they're lifting up several different things. I don't know. It definitely is different than the rigging they use for lighting, because you can clearly see that for sure with the rest of the section here. This is what they use for lighting, all the scrim stuff there, like the scaffolding, the metal scaffolding there. And then this other stuff we haven't really seen before in the BTS. It's definitely using some sort of lifting mechanism for sure. That would be my guess there. Yeah. I don't know about this one. Day 13 here. Again, we see a large crane on a little set of wheels here being pushed in for this shot. Victories! And we see more of the people on the scaffolding here as they're repairing parts of the wall, putting kind of like a plaster over the brick of the wall here. Normal buildings during the time of Jesus would have had a plaster-like material on the outside, mostly for looks, in order to make it look cohesive overall, instead of having like the bricks one by one, right? And so you see a lot of these masons as they are putting on plaster, looks like on the wall. There's one even quite close to us here. You can see him as he has this kind of trough filled with some sort of plaster or something, along with a kind of a handle in order to scrape it on the wall there. So you see that there. Not sure if this is a rehearsal or what's up, but it didn't seem like it. Seems like they are actually shooting something here during this time. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't really see everybody that's in here. There's probably people in there that we can't see from the moment here. And then we see here another angle of people that are kind of up on the scaffolding as they're doing some stuff here. Then we also see, you know, our normal crew walking around doing stuff. The props crew, everybody's engaged here.
My name is Paul Cosmano.
So here's some more extras we've got. Let's hear their stories here.
I'm from San Diego, San Marcos. I've been watching The Chosen for since the beginning. It's my first time doing anything like this, actually. I'm looking forward to just being around people who love Jesus, and just being a part of the shows is an awesome privilege.
My name is Tara. I'm from South Florida. This is my first time being an extra on the set of The Chosen. I am just excited to be a part of the experience. After watching all of the seasons, it's just cool to be a part of history.
Yep. So here we're cutting into another day here. This is when a lot of the background, we're here on day 13. And we're going to see two characters that return, obviously, from season 5 that we know are going to return. But it's interesting that these two in particular kind of meet each other here, or at least are with each other here.
And action on rehearsal.
So we see these two, which is Big James and Matthias, as they walk into the Court of Women, it looks like. Now, we don't spend probably a ton of time within the temple within season 6. My guess is because there's not really a lot of reason to, other than to see some particular things that happen later on. But obviously, we're going to see shots of them kind of going in and out of the temple. They want to be able to use this set, of course, in Utah. And so there's definitely going to be parts of the season that are seen within the temple for sure. So we see those there. Here we see a bunch of shots of the crew and different people that are here, including people that we've met on set. People that are important to you guys are probably Catherine Warnock over here, as well as just the rest of the crew that are here to kind of help with all of the extras and get things done for that week there. And then here we've got Simon Z coming back into the fold. Finally, Ala Safi is back in the saddle, so to speak, as he jumps back into the role here. Simon Z, day 1, as we see on this next slide, with his costume back in order as well. Now here we go to day 14. I'm going to jump back to day 13 or around that area in just a second, but here's day 14 as we look at some chaos kind of taking place from Mitch's point of view. Now here, I think Mitch is being very intentional in the way that he's shooting this one, as he's going kind of like over all the people, not showing us the entire room, things like that. He doesn't want to spoil anything, of course, which I totally understand. But we see him as he's kind of looking over everything, showing us the scrim on top, and then he's going to come back down. So he kind of skips the whole room here. A couple of things we do see is like right there, we see Mother Mary all the way to the bottom left here. We see Mother Mary as she's walking out of the room, actually. And then we also see Mary Magdalene right here. Right there to the left as well. But of course, most importantly, we've got Adam Drake over to the right. There he is. There he is. Now, if we go back here in this shot, we can kind of scope out what else is going on here in the moment. Of course, we're shooting into this Roman looking room. We've got a bunch of lighting to control here because you're outside, right? Let's see if we can see anything in this little section here. Not really, right? We get a little bit of a boom mic there. We get some people who are over here in this section kind of getting ready and doing some different things. Then we have the Romans over to the left here, like a little gaggle of 3 Romans all together here. But other than that, we don't really see a ton, right? Not a lot to see here. Now here we see the other section of the scene. Dallas is often a little bit more free with what he can show because he's not really going to get in trouble for, you know, showing what he wants to show. Whereas Mitch could get in trouble, I'm sure. So here we see Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene as they're looking into the same room we just looked at. So there's Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary. And then I can't tell if this is Eden or not. I don't think so, but it could be. I'm not 100% sure there. Then we see the rest of the room. Notably, we see Jonathan right here, Jesus, right in the middle of the scene. This is obviously before he's been beaten. This could be after the night that he spends in Caiaphas's dungeon, for example. He is obviously wearing wrist irons. I don't think this scene takes place during nighttime, although they could change the lighting to kind of fix that, maybe. But we do see Jesus here, obviously, in the middle of this scene as he is surrounded by some people. Doesn't look like he's surrounded by Roman guards at the moment, which is quite interesting. I wonder if that's just because they're not there at the moment, or if they're allowing him to speak to Mother Mary, for example, during this time. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here. But we do see Jesus as he's in wrist irons. And this is obviously after he's been arrested because we've seen season 5 already. And so this is at some point during that. My guess is that it's the next morning or somewhere around there where we're seeing Jesus be taken from Caiaphas and going over from Caiaphas and Herod over to the Romans and seeing that play out there. But I'm not 100% sure. Real quick, before we continue on in our BTS, I promise you're going to want to watch to the end of this video. Yes, we do get to Jonathan as Jesus carrying the cross and what that's going to look like. We have some new images and some new video to look at in terms of that. It's pretty intense, so buckle up for that. But I wanted to say, if you enjoy these videos, if you enjoy our deep dives into these biblical media projects, I would love for you to help support our channel if you can. Over on Patreon at snipesupport.com, you can pledge $5, $10, or $25 to help us to continue to make videos just like this. Oftentimes it's hard to judge what's going to happen on YouTube in terms of views and how many people are watching our stuff. Patreon really helps us to be more stable so that we can continue to make the content that we feel like God wants us to make, as well as just continuing to make videos, period, right? And so I thank you guys so much. Thank you to our patrons that we have currently, and there's a bunch of extra content over there as well that you can go check out if you'd like to. Anyway, let's get back to the video. Wanted to say thank you so much to our patrons. Thank you so much to the people that watch these videos. You guys are amazing. Let's get back to the video. Over here, this kind of looks like, this woman right here kind of looks like Judas's sister, but I can't tell with the text in the way. Yeah. Can't tell there either, but we do see the Romans in the background here as well. Let's kind of zoom in and show that. We got, this is who I think might be Judas's sister, but I'm not 100% sure. And then we've got the Romans in the back over here. And then I'll go back and show you Jonathan as well, zoomed in here. Go back here. And you can see Jonathan here as he's in wrist irons here. You can see those handcuffs on his hands. It's going to be a tough season, everybody. If you're struggling at this image, you might not want to watch the rest of this video. I'll say that. Continuing on. We got another image, another shot of this side. We've got this big wrought iron gate. Then next to it, we have a big statue of Athena over here, which of course they would have left different sacrifices and offerings at, different things like that. We also have the SPQR, the big banner here from the Roman side as we're looking at it. Then we have some sort of prisoner transport here over to the right. If I zoom in on this again, you can kind of see we've got some sort of prisoner transport, which I assume would transport Jesus, but seems kind of weird. I don't think they would need that in any way. Maybe it's not for Jesus because it's not a far distance. Like it's really not a long distance to travel between Caiaphas's house and kind of the Roman fortress, the Fortress Antonia, where they bring him, and then to the place where he's killed. It's all pretty close by. So I don't know if they would need a prisoner transport like this rather than just have him walk, because it's not very far. But yeah, I wish these are the moments I wish I could like de-blur a piece of paper, for example. A lot of things like that I always wish I could read or de-blur to see what they're looking at here as they go through, but alas, we will have to move on from that one there. Now let's go back again. I know you guys hate it when I go back and pause, but this is what this is all about. You're at the Chosen Sleuth, not the Chosen Watch. We see here what looks to be Mary Magdalene, as well as some other folks, but I don't know who. This is a really hard scene to tell what this is. We do know at some point during the week they shot a big oneer or a one shot, like a scene that is done in one shot essentially, without any cuts. So this could be part of that scene, although I'm not 100% sure about that. We only get a little bit of clues as to what that is. Here we got another shot of what it looks like to have all the background extras on set, which just makes everything just look so much better. It's awesome.
All right, that's a scene.
Yeah. Now here, Dallas says, when the most complicated one-shot scene finally works after 15 long takes. Now, one of the things I wonder when he says this is, does he mean the most complicated of the whole series? Because the one that they did in season 2, episode 3, was pretty complicated, and it was a long one. It was like almost 14 minutes long. So that was a pretty long one shot or oneer. And so now they've done another one for season 6, which I love. I've been waiting for them to do this for a long time. Super glad they're actually doing another oneer for season 6. But does that mean that it's even bigger or different or more complicated, or what does that necessarily mean, right? For season 6 and this oneer here, I don't know. But we're in that same room we just were in before, and also we still have Mary Magdalene, and I think Mother Mary is part of this scene as well. But there's Mary Magdalene. Very nice, everybody. We see that prisoner transport right behind her as well. This brown roof. You can kind of see that prisoner transport is what it looks like, at least to me, is what it is. And pausing through here, we see a bunch of the extras on set, a bunch of the Romans over there. A bunch of the extras I actually recognized from my time on set as well, which is interesting. I'm sure it's exhausting for sure. But that's the end of that one. So I'm not sure what that Oner was or how complicated it is or what it looks like. I'm sure it's going to be awesome though. Really, really excited for that. Absolutely. I was there for the Oner. We were there rehearsing and doing it for over and over for 4 hours. Wow, that's pretty epic. So 15 times, it took you 4 hours to do it 15 times. That's a long time filming for sure. Here's another shot at some more extras here.
Be crossing, that's right. So as we are moving around in the space.
Now here, this connects to the scene we saw before. This is why I told you to keep it in mind, okay? So that scene with all the scaffolding and the different people kind of putting on plaster and different things like that. In this scene, we also apparently have Luke Dimian, because he's in this picture that they shared from someone. And so we can see Luke Dimian is right here as well. So this has something to do with Judas. Maybe he's just passing through. Maybe he has a talk with some of the workers. I don't know. I don't know what is going to go on here, but this has something to do with Judas here as well. I'll just mention real quick before anybody does spoil anything. If anybody was there during the filming, clearly don't share anything in my chat or anything like that as we talk about it. But we will we'll talk about anything that was shared publicly. We won't share about anything, obviously, that was not shared publicly. We don't want to, do that for sure. Want to be kind to the Chosen team as much as we can. Although if something was shared publicly, it's game over. Here is me and my wife Vanessa, along with one of our patrons. And so thank you so much to Hyacinth. So cool to meet you and talk to you and chat with you. We took a bunch of different pictures, talked to a bunch of different people. This is our very first morning on set this day. You can see by the color of our lanyards what color we were on set. So me and Vanessa were green on the first day, and then she was red on the other side there. So they had 3 different groups: red, green, and blue. At least when we were there, and so yeah, we had a great time for sure. Continue on here. Give you a little bit of behind the scenes of what was going on when we got there on set. This is just us grabbing breakfast and showing you a little bit of the tent here. And then immediately when I got to set, the first thing that happened was I got pooped on by a bird. So literally within 5 minutes, I got pooped on. And I saw a lot of other people that did as well. There's a lot of just random wild birds that were all over the place on set in Utah. And so immediately got pooped on. Now we'll continue on here. Let's see. Here's a little bit of what Dallas said in the tent. Now, this is highly edited, okay? Dallas did share some spoilery stuff during this talk that he gave to the group, talking about what we were going to be filming, what they had been filming, and I am just not going to share it, right? Because that's not nice. I obviously took out any spoilers here, but I wanted to give you the gist of what he said here, give you a little bit of what he talked about kind of when we were in the tent here, which I thought was fun. So here we go.
I am so honored and thrilled that you are here. How many of you are here today for the first time? Okay, great. And how many of you have done this before? And you came back. That is something else. All right, well, I want to share with you just a little bit of what you're going to experience over the next couple of days. I've got some good news, I've got some bad news, I've got some fun news. Let's start with the bad news. Number one, filmmaking is not all that fun. I know you've been here before, so maybe you know the drill, but there's a lot of waiting. Sometimes you're just going to have to really practice a lot of patience and grace. And so over the next 3 days, get to know each other. You're going to have some time to think, to talk, to pray. You can always use that. I'll get to that in a minute. But here's the other little piece of bad news is not all of the things that we're filming this week are fun and exciting. Some of them are actually sad. I don't know if you know that. Season 6 isn't the most upbeat season we've ever done. But you're going to be a very important part of that. So, but here's the good news. We've got some really interesting things happening this week, and I wanted to give you a heads up because some of them might be a little surprising. So, as you know, I've always been a little bit hesitant about doing this year, though.
So that was edited out. He's not going to talk about that. We'll just keep on letting him talk here.
We decided to, I think, reveal something that has taken several seasons to do, but this year we introduced, once you watch it on the episodes, it's going to be really, really cool. It's one of the most exciting and bold things that we've ever done, and also, I believe, one of the most powerful things we've ever done. Last week, we filmed, let me just say this has been already, by far, our most difficult and challenging and exhausting season. We're 3 weeks in, and between weather and just the length of the days and the subject matter and the challenges of what we're doing, it has been immensely difficult, and we've got a long way to go. It's our longest season by 20 days, our longest season of filming, and the cast and crew have already been challenged in their endurance. And sometimes we put our heads down and our hands to the plow because we want so badly to get this right. But it's not always a fun process. But then you show up. And when you show up, it does remind us of why we're doing this and for who we're doing this, and the fact that we can't do it without you, and that by just being here, you provide us the ability to do this. And so I want to thank you deeply from the bottom from the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support, for your prayers, and now your literal presence gives us, cast and crew, a deep and profound battery recharge and lift, and it just means so much. And I love you, and thank you for bringing your 5 loaves and 2 fish. You'll see this week how hard everyone works to bring their loaves and fish as well. And we are watching God do incredible things all over the world together. So thank you so much.
Cool. Anyway, I hope you could understand that. It's just a quick video that I took with my phone. So I had to edit out some of those things that he talked about, but gave you as much as I possibly could. Here's me and my wife, Vanessa. Thank you to everybody that came up and said hi to us and we got to talk to and had some good conversation with. Thank you for hanging out with us. I appreciate you guys for sure. 99% of the interactions that we had with you guys were perfect, awesome. There's a couple interactions with a few people that were very rude and not very nice, but you know, we're letting those go. But for the most part, the people that we met were amazing, and some of the people that we met were like, it was insane to even say that we met them, sort of people. So really, really, really great time that we had on set for sure. And that's what we kind of looked like there as we were chilling. Taking some illegal photos on set. Don't tell the crew. But we didn't take any photos of the actual stuff going on, just me and my wife. So and then here's a shot just showing you kind of what the walk was like to set. You kind of had to walk between the tent and the set. So it's very windy this day. I think we were heading back to lunch or something. Then here's Monday views from the Chosen team, of course. This is one of the first days we got there. And then here's the BTS team, Chris and Jelaine, and Mr. Funkhauser. Medics got shirts this time, which is very cute. I love the 3 fish wrapped up in some bandages. Very, very cool. Now here's day 15. I was here for this, so I won't share anything that I know from behind the scenes, but like I said, anything shared publicly is free game, so you're going to pretty easily be able to put together kind of what this is. And so we see the first one here. We see Judas on day 15 being shot, and so we see a little bit of this.
Action.
So we see Judas there on the left side as he's walking forward. Then the camera comes around Very classic Chosen shot here. And then we see the face of Judas here. I want you to remember this shot. I wasn't even here when they did this shot, to be honest with you. I think they only took a couple of groups. I wasn't at least around in this area when they shot it. But this is another section of, I believe, the same shot. Like I said, I wasn't here when they actually shot it, but at least not in that area there. But you see up here in the corner, there are a couple of different women that are very important to the show. Of course, we've got Mary Magdalene, we've got Tamar, we've got Mary of Bethany, and then I think Martha is right here. And then if we continue forward, we see one more very important woman, and that is Mother Mary right here. Now, I want you to keep a close eye as they leave the set and tell me if we're missing anybody as we continue going. So you see Mary Magdalene leaves, Tamar and Mary of Bethany, but then we don't really see Martha or Mother Mary. Oh, there's Martha, actually. So we're just missing Mother Mary here. And she is nowhere to be seen. So let me get this off the screen. So if we go back, I think that those two shots are put together, most likely. So we're seeing Judas as he walks towards the women. And then we're going to have a moment of confrontation between Judas and Mother Mary, which is going to be pretty interesting to see. Obviously, she's confronting the man that betrayed her son, and now she's about to watch her son die because of his betrayal. Pretty intense stuff there for sure. So we see again and then we don't see Mother Mary anymore throughout the rest of the shot here. And then we see Mary of Bethany look over her shoulder, almost toward Mother Mary, like, why are you stopping, sort of thing. And so we see that there. We got to take a picture. This is one of the tables we sat at for lunch one day. And so some great friends here that we got to meet. And then Yanni, who you guys know, Wasim, who you guys know as Yanni, came around to every single table and took a picture with every single table, which was great. So you can see our full kind of wardrobe there. Some of the different people that we got to sit with and talk to. So it was great meeting you guys. If you're watching today, thank you for hanging out with us and talking to us. And yeah, it was awesome. We had some great conversation for sure. Continuing on, here's Adam saying that he got his selfie with Dallas. It only took him 7 years to do so. We see a couple of clues in the background, actually. In this one in particular, we see that there's a choir in the background. And so we see that same choir that was with like Little James and some different people there. We see that choir that's there. And then, of course, they're in the Court of Women. So looks like we're going to see that choir reappear in season 6 as well. Not the biggest of spoilers, but we see that there. Someone in the chat is asking, where's Joanna? Well, we've already seen Joanna as part of the earlier section of filming. She's not with the women currently, and I don't know if she's going to be with them during the crucifixion and everything. We don't really see her at the foot of the cross, although there, I think, is tradition that says that she helped to bury Jesus, and so I'm not 100% sure where she would be in this story here. All right, continuing on. Now, this is something that's really interesting. I don't really know what this is or what it's for, but we're gonna give it our best shot as the Chosen Sleuth and talk about this here. So we have Image Shaker on Steadicam today, and this is one of the camera operators here. And so they have an Image Shaker on set. Again, we're seeing that same thing right on the top of the camera right here. This is what's called an Image Shaker. And so we're going to see a close-up of it in a second here. We see a couple of the camera people. Here's Chosen Season 6, Day 16. This is from Mitch here as he kind of looks around. Let me see if I can see myself in any of these images here. I don't think so. I don't think I'm in any of these sections here. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. I know, I told you. It's a fist bump of joy.
I think this is from a different season, actually. I think this is a repost.
Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you. Thank you, thank you.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. Yeah, there you go.
We're praying for you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Great job today. No, it's awesome.
The only thing that was cool.
Yeah, I think this is from a different season. I don't think this is from this season. I think this is from season 5.
I told you it was awesome. Great.
Maybe even season 4.
Good job. Great job.
Nah,
Great job.
I don't think it's season 4. Maybe season 5 though.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Yep. Love you guys. You guys were great. Thank you. More to come.
Thanks, Dallas. Look forward to tomorrow.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Oh no, it's a fist pump of joy. You can't deny the joy. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, day 16 here again as we look toward Dallas's perspective.
All right, pictures up.
Now here, we're going to come back to what I was talking about before. First things first, though, I got to make a cameo, you know? Got to make a cameo. There I am, me and my wife. So there I am right there, and then Vanessa's right there. There we are, right in the back of the shot here. We had a lot of fun with this one. Again, I'm not going to talk about the different shots that we did necessarily, just kind of talk about what is going on publicly as to not spoil anything that I know from my knowledge. But there we are on set. So proof I was there. On this cart, though, I'll actually make sure that comes back up. On this cart, we have some interesting things. We have some mezuzahs for sale, which is very, very cool. And a second here, we're going to see a character that is quite interesting to see along with mezuzahs. But we get a little bit of a cart here in front of the Court of Women and in the temple area here. Now here we see Atticus. Atticus is near this kind of cart here, about to do a scene. Yep, hard to say what for.
Okay, pictures up. Make sure those sunglasses and glasses are.
And then we also get Judas over here.
Off.
Now, back to the Image Shaker 5000, okay? The Image Shaker. What is an Image Shaker? What is it used for? Now, we've seen it posted by 3 different camera people at this point about the Image Shaker and what this is. So we get Image Shaker number 5012. We see that it's on the camera. And if you do a quick Google search, you may come up with a video like this. So I'll just let this play.
You can vary the shape of this prism by moving those plates of glass. The magic of Hollywood is to tell you a story, to bring you into the screen and make you experience what the actors and actresses are experiencing. If there's an explosion on screen, you need to feel it. You need to know that there's danger. If there's something terrible going on in the background, a volcano erupting or a mudslide coming at you, you need to feel that danger. And one of the ways to tell that story is to shake the camera around. But that's not a practical way to do things, so I invented the Image Shaker.
Interesting. So yeah, you can just like Google that and see that image there. And then I'll just, oh no, my Bible app came open real fast. Interesting. And behold, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth shook, and the rocks were split. Could be. I think they've made a pretty big deal about this Image Shaker so far, so I think that could be connected. Maybe. We get that on the big camera there.
Yo, what's up? It's Boss Bro here, Adam.
It's Bald Bro Mix.
Yeah.
What's going on?
We got a new episode releasing tomorrow.
We do.
What do you think we should have, Mitch?
I think we should have a very special guest who's with us right now. You want to see who it is?
Who is that? Look at him working.
Akis. Akis Constantopoulos. They did a Brosen episode with Akis. You better be subscribed to the Brosen because I'm going to appear on an episode very soon, I think. Unless they just deleted the episode because it was so bad, but I hope not. I think I'm on the list. So go check out the Brosen. Adam and Mitch and a couple other bros from the Chosen set, of course, talk to people from the Chosen and from their careers and talk about filmmaking and acting and all that kind of stuff. A really cool podcast if you guys have the time to go check it out, for sure.
There he is.
All right, continuing on, we've got Dallas over here walking through the set. And then we've got a big crane set up here. This is actually... the last day that I was on set, I believe. We got some crew members taking some pics here on set as well. And then here is a really interesting shot, okay? This is a really interesting shot. Let's see how this one goes.
You, Centurion, please.
Now, this is really interesting. It's only 3 words, okay? You, Centurion, please. Now, we see Judas as he is leaving the court of women, and he comes out toward Atticus, who Atticus, for some reason, is messing with these mezuzah. I'm not sure why he would be messing with them, or why he'd even be in the temple in the first place, but he came to be here, and so Judas sees him, and he calls him a centurion. Why is this important? Number 1, Atticus is not a centurion. He is not a normal Roman soldier, okay? He is a cohorte urbanae. Now, we've talked about this since season 2 of The Chosen. Since we first met Atticus, what a cohorte urbanae actually is, and The Chosen does not use them in the way that they actually would have been used in history. More than likely, the cohorte urbanae would not have been outside of Rome pretty much whatsoever. They would have been special police for use within Rome. But here, Judas is not even calling him by his proper name. He probably doesn't even know. He's just generalizing Atticus and calling him a centurion. So then that makes me think, okay, why would the writers put that in here? They know that Judas does not recognize Atticus as a cohorte urbanae. He does not recognize him as his proper title because he just doesn't know, right? But he also doesn't look like a centurion, so maybe he's just generalizing him to be a general centurion Roman guy, right? It's better than calling him, hey, you Roman, right? But what does that make me think of when I think of the writing and foreshadowing and setup of what could be happening with Atticus overall? You guys know me, and if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I really, really, really wanted the person at the cross to say, the person that says, surely this is the Son of God. I wanted that to be Quintus because I think Quintus would be really, really interesting to see in that position, coming from the place that he was as a praetor, the relationship that he had with Jesus, and then to see that come around at the end, to see him say, surely this is the Son of God, would be really interesting to me, to have Quintus come back in that way. Now, we know that we're going to see that at some point this season, but I do think they are setting it up now to be Atticus. I think it's going to be Atticus. Now, I'm a little bit disappointed with that. I'm sure you guys are ecstatic with that. It makes a lot of sense writing-wise for it to be Atticus because of the buildup that we've had of him being pushed into kind of seeing Jesus do some miracles. He kind of saw him walk on water. He kind of saw him do some healings. He kind of saw him do all these different things within Capernaum and Jerusalem and kind of everywhere that Atticus followed him. There were some crazy, interesting things happening, including the feeding the 5,000, right? Atticus was there for all of it, and he saw all of it. So it makes a lot of sense that they would be calling him a centurion in this scene if they're going to make him that centurion at the cross. And I think the only way that they could justify this is if they're using the word centurion as a generalization of what the Roman soldier is or who Atticus is, because he is certainly not a centurion. It would just be wrong to call him a centurion. And so it doesn't really make any sense. The reason why I really wanted it to be Quintus is because that's really the only other Roman that could have been demoted to being a centurion that we really know in the series. And so if we wanted it to be someone that we know, which I think would be most powerful, then I think most likely writing-wise, it looks like it's going to be Atticus. but I'll still hold out a little tiny bit of hope for Quintus. I would love to see that. But I do think because of this scene in particular, that it's going to be Atticus, almost certainly now. So I'll play that one more time for you guys so you can see it. I do think that it's going to be Atticus almost certainly. So here we go.
You, Centurion, please.
So we see that there. We got another crew shot here as they're all kind of hanging out, getting ready. Now, this one is from Danny, who goes by One Short Gnome on Instagram. And she says, I know so many of you are already praying for us, for our cast and crew on The Chosen. I ask that you especially remember us tomorrow and say a little prayer. Much love to you all. Now, this is during the day that I was leaving. I was actually leaving during this day. So this was my last day on set. And she's talking about prayers for the day after I leave, okay? Which is probably a good thing that I don't know anything that happened on set from personal experience. I only know from the public data, which is probably best for all of us, right? And so we can see kind of what happened here. But we're going to dive into this deep and buckle up your seatbelts. That's what I'll say for this one. As we head into this, we see day 17 here. Of course, we see some Roman soldiers to begin with. We see them wearing their uniforms. They have their Roman gladiuses, their swords off to their sides. We see some Pharisees, and we see a bunch of extras over here. Now, I want you to recognize something within these shots here because it's very, very important, and it tells a lot about how serious these scenes are. Every single time that Dallas does a BTS video and there's there's background actors that are in the shot, right? And he's taking a video with his phone. They are always staring at the phone, or they're staring at Dallas, or they're doing something weird, right? Every single shot that we see from these couple of days, nobody is looking at Dallas's phone, okay? Everybody is transfixed on what is happening with the scene. Okay, so I want you to pay attention to that. It's really important because it shows us how impactful and how important these scenes are. Okay, and so we see the Roman soldiers here. We see all the people as they're looking over. More Roman soldiers there. I want you to take note of these brown pieces of wood right here. We're going to come back to that. Okay, and we'll continue on. We see here some Roman soldiers over to the right holding some very specific things, which we're going to come back to as well. We see some of our cast, some of our crew over here as well. We see Tamar, we see John, and we see a few more that we'll get to in just a second. Here we see some more soldiers, some more people there off to the side. Again, all of them looking past Dallas here, looking towards something else. Then we see here Shmuel, along with some of the other Pharisees and Sadducees over here in the corner. Then we see right here, we see Jesus. Now, I am going to zoom in on this in a second here, and we are going to get basically a full body shot of Jonathan covered in blood and wearing a crown of thorns. And so we're gonna get to there in a second, but I'm gonna come back to it. Okay. We do see him here getting his makeup touched up. It looks pretty rough. Okay. Here we get another shot of that wooden beam. This is the horizontal beam that is called. One second, I have it pulled up here. I always forget the name of this. This is called the patibulum. So the patibulum is the wooden beam here. That is the horizontal beam that Christ would have carried. Okay, so Jesus would not have carried the entire cross like we see in some renditions of him carrying the cross. What they mean by pick up your cross is pick up the patibulum, which is the horizontal piece that would have gone over his shoulders there, if that makes sense. So that is what this is here. This might not be Jesus's because there's no blood on it. And clearly he's bloody in this scene, but this is one of the others that he's about to be crucified with, one of the other two thieves, right? And so we see that there. We see another small shot over here of some of the people that are with Jesus or watching him at least. We see Tamar, we see John, we see Mary Magdalene, and we see Eden here as well. A character who we don't often think of, being here witnessing this, but we see them there as well. My guess is that we're also going to see Veronica here. I don't know where or when. I really haven't seen Jaleh on set so far. And so we should see Veronica, though, because she has a pretty big part here, at least in tradition, with Veronica's veil, right? And so we see a woman that came and she wipes off Jesus's face, and his face is then put onto this garment. And so that is known as Veronica's veil within mostly Catholic tradition or Orthodox tradition. And so we don't really see that biblically at all, but that is something that I think is going to happen within the Chosen here, because they've been building up Veronica for a long time and they called her Veronica, so makes sense that that would be the same character here, also known as the woman with the issue of blood within scripture. And so we see that there. So I'm going to kind of zoom in, go to some different things. I'll let you watch this one more time, and then we're going to zoom in and look at some different things within the shot, because I think this is the most interesting shot we've gotten from this week for sure. Yeah.
Wait, yeah, what'd you do in that rehearsal? I didn't see.
So this is the ending of what he showed there. You know what we're filming, and this is obviously from him either hugging Jonathan or maybe being close by while some of the action takes place, maybe some of the scourging or the whipping. Pretty intense stuff for sure. But let's hop through some close-ups here of what we see in the section. First things first, and I'll make it really big for you guys. We see this. Some of the Roman soldiers are carrying whips of some sort. So you see kind of like a wooden handle with some tails at the end of it. Now, a cat of nine tails is probably the most popular or famous whip, because on the ends of it had like broken glass or broken pottery, different things like that. I don't know if this is that, or if it's just a regular sort of whip with tails on it. It's kind of hard to say. But if we continue on, we can see John and Tamar and everybody in the background of this one, by the way. If we kind of look back, we see Mary and John right there. And then Tamar and Eden are the other two that we see there. Now, if we continue on, we see the patibulum. Again, you can kind of see where the head would go here. And then you see the rest of the wood here. Looks pretty good. In this shot in particular, it looks kind of fake. So I assume that this is made from some sort of light material, because they're not going to actually carry around a giant piece of wood, would be my guess here. That the props department made it way lighter. I would have loved to see actual wood, or at least actual wood on the outside. It doesn't look like it is actual wood, though. Just the way that it looks doesn't look real. So maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe it's just painted in a weird way. But yeah. And then we'll zoom in on this one. This is the heads up. Of course, it's going to be really, really blurry. Just a heads up. Let me make it a little bit smaller so you guys can see. But this is kind of our first look at Jonathan. Oh gosh, I just threw it away. My bad. Duplicate. So you can see here, there's Jonathan with a crown of thorns and obviously blood all over his face. He's wearing some sort of purple robe. I would assume that's part of the costume, because taking something on and off would be pretty difficult during this time, but it could also be something that he's just wearing to stay warm. You can kind of see his tan normal costume right here near his hand, and then underneath here. So I don't know if this robe is what they put on him, which could definitely be the case, to kind of mock him, right? And then obviously you see his hand here is really bloodied as well, as the makeup artists are kind of coming and touching him up here between the shots. Yeah, definitely hard, man. I can't imagine being on set for when that happened. I feel like it would be pretty intense for sure. So for those of you that were on set, kudos to you for sure. For dealing with that and being able to kind of go through that for sure. Yeah, rough stuff. Absolutely. Let's watch it one more time through to get kind of an idea of what we're looking at here. The last thing I want to point out was these guys, looks like we've got some prisoners here with them. We know that obviously Barabbas is let free, But then we have the other two, which are very important. The other two that are on the cross, one that chooses Jesus and one that rejects him. And so we see that there as well. I don't know if it's these two guys, but I think this guy might be one of them. This bald guy right here.
For me, wait, yeah, what'd you do in that rehearsal? I didn't see.
So pretty intense stuff for sure. Yeah. Someone is saying that Yusuf is in this shot as well. I'm not 100% sure about that. I don't know if I saw him in that shot. Day 17, we get kind of a continuation. I think this is Jesus again. You can see some blood on the carpet kind of beneath them as they're going through. Let me see if I can make this big again. Looks like you can see some blood on the carpet here as they look through. So looks like Jesus probably comes through here, would be my guess, and that they're kind of whipping him as they move him along. Yeah. And then we see these people back up. There's no audio to this clip. Probably would give away something. They're backing up past the camera. Then we see the Romans kind of come through. And my guess is that Jesus is coming through right after them, and they cut it off before then. So yeah. Mitch is over here hiding in the corner. He says, this is the only place I could film that wasn't a spoiler. We got a bunch of the crew back here kind of hiding, a lot of the makeup team, different things like that. On a less somber note, we've got Adam Drake's birthday as they're celebrating his birthday here.
Happy birthday to you. Same thing, here we go. And
then here's another scene here, day 17.
Background, action.
Look. Look. Look.
So he's giving cues there for someone to look at something specific. So probably several different people that he's giving cues to, like this group of people look, then this group of people look, then this group of people. So they're probably looking towards Jesus as he's walking through the Via Dolorosa or something like that. The Via Dolorosa is what we call the path that Jesus took through the city as he goes towards Golgotha. It basically means the way of suffering is what the Via Dolorosa means. And so you can actually walk that path today. If you go to Israel, there's a path that they believe is the Via Dolorosa that leads to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. And of course, that is where we believe pretty highly that this is the place that Jesus was killed. And again, here's another shot here. Looks like they're doing a top-down shot of something here. Akis put, I believe I can fly over this, so I cut that audio out.
A prop.
And then we've got some more stuff from the extras from set here.
That I brought. I'm not actually pregnant. The baby daddy is Amazon.com.
Again, please fix this audio. Please fix this audio.
A pick for the beard. You got to keep this thing in order. It's very important.
This fan, which actually doubles as a face shield from wind, dust, and dirt.
I always bring a notebook. Notice the teal. I write down every day everything that happens, and then any of the corresponding scripture that goes with it, because I love to go back and reflect on the day because it's been such a blessing.
A water flask, which I made myself.
Bug spray.
You will never find me without my treats. Fun body tape. Weird enough, right? I've been taping everything to myself. With the wind yesterday, it was really good.
Absolutely. Purell. My hands have gotten grimy several times.
I bought this prop, and it is a real working water bottle.
We're eye drops because there was a lot of wind yesterday.
I have an umbrella for when it starts to rain and when it gets too sunny.
Now, if you're a super sleuth, you probably saw me in the background of one of those shots here. Let's see. I can't remember where it is, actually. Let me see here. There we are. In the very, very back of this shot right here. Of course, you guys are super sleuths, so you probably saw it. So right over here. Here's Vanessa right there and me right there sitting down and chilling with our table, which was a lot of fun. All right, let's continue on. Couple more really interesting things within this section here.
Purell. My hands have gotten grimy several times.
I bought this prop, and it is a real working water bottle.
We're eye drops because there's a lot of wind yesterday.
I have an umbrella for when it starts to rain and when it gets too sunny.
Here's another shot at day 16 from behind the scenes. Nothing crazy important there. Here we see Lada Silva, who is saying that she misses her boys. She's dressed up in her costume in the little corner there of the FaceTime as she's looking at them. And then here's her getting ready here in her trailer. One thing that was sad that she said on her social media was that she's been married now to her husband for 4 years, and they haven't been able to spend a single anniversary together because they're always working or traveling or doing different things. And so that's pretty sad. But continuing on with this section here, we may get a little bit of a glimpse of who I believe is Simon of Cyrene here. So let me make it real big for you so you guys can see. Boo-doo-doo. Oh, man. Did I break it? Did I break it? My computer froze for a second. Sorry about that. I think I broke it. Okay, I fixed it. I think this is Simon of Cyrene right here. This person right here. I think he is the bird vendor that we saw in season 5. And I think this is Simon of Cyrene. Although I could be wrong. I think it is. Not 100% sure. But kind of looks like it to me. What do you guys think? That is who we're theorizing is Simon of Cyrene. And of course, he would be a big part of this scene here as he's going to help Jesus to carry the patibulum. And so we'll see that in season 6 for sure. And I think that they are definitely pointing toward him being Simon of Cyrene with all the hints that we got in season 5. And so, yeah. Yeah, that is my thought. That is my thought there. Let me know your thoughts as well as we continue through. We got some more Roman guards here. Got a bunch of extras. Looking over. And again, I love this shot because Dallas just like, he's definitely keeping stuff from us, right? Remember what I said earlier about people not looking at Dallas when he's filming? You can see that people, for the most part, are all super focused on what is happening right here to the right of camera. Okay, so to the right of camera, right here where everybody's looking, right here where all the action's taking place, right here where the camera is actually shooting, is the only place that Dallas does not show us. And so you can see he does like a whole, turn here, but he doesn't do a full 360. He stops a bit early before he gets to who I believe to be Jesus here, right to the right of camera, which I guess would be my guess would be that this is where they're going to have Simon of Cyrene step in to help him. Or the Roman guards are going to pull Simon of Cyrene.
I didn't know that.
So we see everybody here. I'm sure it was a very emotional time, right? We see all these different guards. And now again, we see the patibulum. If you look very closely, we see the patibulum over here to the left. This woman is carrying it over here. One of the prop people right there. So yeah, very, very cool section. And then we see again a bunch of the lights and different things up there that are helping to light the scene. Now here, Dallas just straight up tells us this is down the Via Dolorosa. Again, the way of suffering. This is where the road that Jesus walked in order to get to Golgotha. So we're seeing a big part here. As everybody's kind of looking around, we see these different setups. Another behind the scenes shot here. We got Draconator giving us a little bit of background from his perspective. Again, the Via Dolorosa here. There's Mitch down there kind of getting all the background where they need to be. Then we have everybody kind of piled up everywhere here, covering the streets here.
We will still be making noise on this one, same deal.
So something happening here. Mitch getting the background ready for this shot. And then just kind of showing that. So kind of cuts off there. Doesn't really show us. Here is Amber, also known as Tamar in the show. And she says, there's nothing pretty about season 6. Brace yourselves. And then we've got season 6, day 18, as they're showing some of the streets here. And then Amanda gets to be on set with Dallas. This would be a pretty important day, of course. I'm sure the writers are here. Amanda, of course, would want to be here for this. And in the background, we kind of see the same things that we've been seeing before. One thing that we see, if we zoom in, as always, as we love to do, we can see some interesting things happening here. We see Mitch right here. We see what looks to be a stand-in, I think, right next to him. And then they're preparing for this shot here as they kind of get into what they're doing. But they've moved past where they were before, moving further down the street here. I can't tell if this is supposed to be a stand-in for Jesus. Most likely, right? As people are kind of looking over and getting into the section here. Yeah, that's my thoughts. We continue on. We see another shot from people kind of looking towards what's happening on the scene.
Whoa, what?
Now here we kind of change around to something a little bit different. I was going to make a third section here to the behind the scenes. I know this is a long video already. Thank you for sticking around. But there's some interesting things that happen here at the very end, and it just wasn't enough to make it its own video. And so I'm going to be putting it here as well. Here's day 19. On day 19, we get a little bit of a surprise here.
It tastes like the doodle in the sandwich.
What's expected?
Right there. The man himself, Joseph, has returned. So clearly this is another flashback. And I have some more evidence for that being the case as well. But day 19, we get another flashback to Jesus when he's very young, right? Most likely when he's a baby, probably them traveling from within Bethlehem somewhere. I'm not sure exactly what this would be, actually. I don't know what the connection here is to this moment. I'm sure there's obviously a reason why it's written in here, but to have another flashback of Jesus at his like when he's a baby during this section is quite weird to me. I wonder how this is going to connect to the crucifixion season. Like, is it just a writing of like, hey, here's the beginning of his life, now here's the end of his life? Or is it something else that's going on here? I do wonder. So we get that moment with Joseph here. We get another confirmation that this is, of course, a flashback and not Joseph again appearing as some sort of angel or something else, like we saw in season 5. We're going to see some other stuff here. So we see Mitch with a goat here. And then day 19 from some of the camera peeps. And you could hear there really quickly, if I back up here, I want you to listen closely to the very end of that clip, okay? I know this is, we're sleuths in training, okay? Listen to the very end of that clip and tell me what you hear. So I heard babies crying. This is going to be kind of obvious as to why this is in a little bit. But first, let's watch Mitch run through the fields. So we get that. Now here is actually an important part. Even though it seems insignificant to The Chosen itself, here's an important piece of our background for this week. We get Amanda Drake coming in to surprise her husband Adam for his birthday. And so she was able to surprise him by coming on set and sneaking onto set to see kind of what's going on here. Now, if we go forward and see the surprise video, you're going to see what I mean by there's some interesting things happening here that we can pull for this.
You want to meet the... Yeah. Here, on this side. This is our baby Jesus number 2.
So Mitch is trying to surprise Adam here, okay? And in doing so, he tells us a little bit about what the scene is about, okay? So we know that this is not some sort of other thing with Joseph. We know that this is a flashback with baby Jesus specifically, because he says this is baby Jesus number 2. Why is he saying that? Because oftentimes when they have babies to use for certain scenes, they have 3, 4, 5, 6 babies that they have to trade out, because babies are only allowed to work for, I think, like 20 minutes or 30 minutes at a time on set, okay? So if we go back again, you can hear Mitch say, oh, and here is baby Jesus number 2. I want to introduce you to his mom, right? And so he's trying to surprise Adam, but in that we get to hear a little bit, right?
This is our baby Jesus number 2. What's the name? Mom's name is Amanda.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
So we see her carrying a little baby prop, but they would have actual mothers on set with their children to play this role. And so yeah. We also see some of the other people that are on set here, some, you know, shepherds or people with staffs, some different people in the background here as well. Nothing super crazy that we can pull out from that, but definitely shows us this is a flashback scene to when Jesus was a baby, which is quite interesting. Could this be potentially is this part of the Chosen season 6? Probably. Remember, I have a theory that we might get a Christmas special, maybe not this year, but next year. And so maybe they're shooting some of that. I don't think so, though. I think they're way too packed full in their shooting for season 6, unless they're including that in their time for shooting, which I think would be crazy. Yeah, looks like we do have Joseph and we do have baby Jesus at the very least coming through. This also kind of points to we probably have Mother Mary, the young Mother Mary on set, or at least a younger version of Vanessa's Mary that we see on set. And so, yeah, we could see that for sure.
Like, why are you bringing me over to me?
So happy birthday, Adam. I'm glad you got a good surprise. Glad you had a good birthday for sure.
Baby together.
Yeah. I think we does not look right.
That's a jacked up looking baby.
Right?
That's awesome.
And again, another end of the week. I'm sure Dallas is telling everybody how much he loved having them there, et cetera, et cetera. As he's closing out the week there, Dallas talking to everybody and saying thank you for being a part of it, which was awesome. We had a great time for sure. And I think that is pretty much the end of what we have. Maybe a couple more things here. Day 19, we got some sheep, some goats, some people walking down and up the road. And of course, this is connected to Joseph in some way. We've got some sort of shepherd there as well. And then last but not least, we got some extras as they come through, kind of showing off some of their costuming here, which is always hilarious to me. So anyway, good stuff. That's the end of our BTS for this week. I know that was a long one. Thank you for sticking around. Some really interesting stuff in there. This season is going to be hard for sure. This season's definitely going to be a hard one. So anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts about anything that I missed in here, anything that you found that I didn't. I'd love to hear it for sure. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.